Good day, viewers. Welcome to a new edition of 30 Minutes, the interactive program of Trust Television with me, Manir Dan Ali. Our guest is a member of the Federal House of Representatives from Katsina State. He comes from an area that is still being bedeviled by insecurity. I'm talking about Representative Abdullahi Balarabe Dabai. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Madam Manir.
You were recently on the floor of the National Assembly to raise concern, a motion in the language of the Assembly,
Yes.
about the situation in your area,
Yes.
where you represent. Can you tell us a bit of details of why you are that concerned?
The level of insecurity in my constituency, Bakure Danja Federal constituency, has made me to move motions. I moved not only one motion. I moved several motions.
So over a period you've been concerned.
I've been concerned.
Anytime there is a peak in the insecurity, you raise it. So this is not even the first time.
This is not the first time. This is not the second time. I raised these motions, drawing the attention of the House at the level of insecurity in my constituency. I was concerned because people have been, this community or the society has been ravaged by this insecurity to the level that they can't farm, they can't trade, and they can't rear their animals. And the rural economy has been devastated to a level that the level of hunger, is very, very scary. And that was what informed my decision that the government or the executive arm, the attention of the executive arm should be drawn to the level of insecurity in the communities so that action can be taken to remedy the situation.
Has it elicited that action? Has anything been done since your motion?
Well, after the first and the second motion, I spoke with the governor himself, His Excellency Malam Duka Umar Radda, and the level or the action he can take is limited in the sense that he doesn't control the police or the army. The army and the police take their instructions from their headquarters as to what action to be taken.
Because they are federal institutions.
They are federal institutions. They are federal institutions.
So has there been any reaction from the federal level?
Yes,
have you seen more deployment?
Yes,
of
there were some deployments
forces?
Recently. After the motion I moved in the House, there was deployment to Guga village.
That is one of the affected villages.
Affected areas. There are 30 wards, Guga, Kakumi, and Kandarawa in Bakuru local government that are seriously affected by this insecurity.
How serious?
On daily basis, there are attacks in those villages. If this village was not attacked, the other village or any surrounding villages around the area will be attacked.
And are people killed, or is it just people getting kidnapped?
They kidnap people, they kill people, and they take away their animals. So that is the level it has gone. So I felt government should do something about it. The last time I read the motion, the government in Katsina State did something to, remedy the situation.
Is it in form of deployment of
the security watch?
Security watch.
Security watch.
That is the semi armed.
That's what they call. What is it? Community police. Community police.
And how effective have they been?
Well, the level of training they have is not as much as the conventional security agencies have. So,
and then their armament as
their
well.
Armament too, and the way they can handle even the armament is limited in the sense that even the bandits are more trained in the handling of armaments than the security watches themselves. And the most serious problem is that even in the district headquarters, that is in Bakori itself, the number of policemen in that division, you will be surprised as the number. The other time,
so it's completely inadequate.
It's inadequate. The personnel is inadequate. It's inadequate. The personnel I found out the other time in Ziga, when they kidnapped General Maharaj Ziga, I think they had only 4 policemen in Ziga. Only 4. And that town, I know, even if it is 40 policemen, it will not be very, very effective for them to cover the whole town, except talk less of the, villages surrounding the district headquarters.
Because so that may be why in that particular incident we didn't hear of the police doing anything to subvert the kidnapping.
Yes, that is exactly the situation. That's exactly the situation. There is inadequate personnel, inadequate equipment. That even if when they have the personnel, the equipment that they will use, to deal with the situation.
But then some people will throw it back at people like you. You are a federal legislator.
Yes.
You are supposed to aid the federal security forces in terms of numbers, as you identified the inadequacy.
Well,
what have you been doing on that?
As far as the House or the National Assembly is concerned, adequate provisions are made in our annual budgets for security. But the issue is this: it is only the executive that can explain to the public as to how much personnel they can be able to recruit at any point in time. Going by what the House or the National Assembly approves in our budgets.
But I thought you also have oversight function, which is to check to see whether
we do. We have
what
committees.
You say,
we have
what
committees.
You gave money for has been applied.
We have committees that do that. I am not part of any of those committees. I am not in police institution. I'm not in.
But you are in the National Assembly.
I am in the National Assembly, but I'm not part. It is for them for the House to have oversight function. Every sector has a committee that oversees that particular sector, that goes for oversight to cover that area. But it's only when there is a report that they bring out the report that is discussed in the general in the House generally.
But with the knowledge you have about this particular thing, that inadequacy, numbers, and whatever,
still very inadequate.
Have you ever tried to engage the relevant committee? That look, I have first-hand knowledge of this. What exactly are we doing?
Even recently, I engaged one of the chairman of the committees, and there is a limit to what they can do themselves. But because generally, solely, it is the executive that handles the recruitment and execution of those budgets that will pass.
But if everybody is passing the buck, how do we solve the problem? You are saying the assembly has done its best.
Good.
There
is a suggestion we made that if the government can recruit at least 100,000 police personnel per year, at least that will be able to reduce the deficit that we have in the manpower of the police force. The same thing applies to the Army or Air Force or Navy and other security agencies like Civil Defense Corps, and other agencies.
But more than just recommend, I thought the National Assembly has power to summon, to question, to even reprimand.
Yes, the National Assembly
or even censure.
Yes, the National Assembly has
power.
Why
are you not doing this over this existential issue of insecurity that has refused to go away for about a decade?
You see, this issue of security, just like my governor said, covers, involves a lot of interests. A lot of
What
interests.
do you mean?
What I mean is just I'm quoting him, the governor. The traditional institution is there. Even the security agencies are there. The intelligentsia are there. The religious institution is there. There is no interest group that is not involved in this business, because I call it business because it has become a business.
So you are saying that almost all sectors of society
Yes.
are involved,
Yeah,
and that is probably why, it is so intractable. You cannot.
That is why it
solve
is
the
very,
problem.
very difficult to solve it at a go. That is why it is very difficult.
But you are the leaders, so leaders
Yes.
are supposed
Let
to
me give you an
get
example.
results.
Let me give you an example.
No matter how
In
difficult the
Guga
situation.
village,
Yes.
there was a time these bandits came, and one of the bandits, was apprehended. And he told the security agencies that the village head was involved, and he mentioned some 2 or 3 people. When they arrested those people to interrogate them, the bandit that was arrested confessed that the person they arrested is not the village head. Do you understand?
So
it means somebody else was pretending to be the village
head.
And incidentally, it was the village head's younger brother who was informing the bandits as to what time they should come. And there was a time the same brother to the village head gave the bandits information. They came in and even abducted the village head himself. It took time. They have to pay ransom on some other things before he was released.
But all this that you are saying about this particular area that you represent, Bakori, Danja Federal Constituency,
yes,
is counter to what the government narrative is, which is that, look, where the situation is improving, things are getting better, we are almost at the end of it all.
I refuse to agree with that, because right now, as of today, Guga village, you will not find more than 100 people in that village. Most of the people
have fled
to other villages, to some safe places that they can find themselves. You can only find elderly people. Incidentally, the village head himself has agreed to stay no matter what happens to him or to his life. And he got some people who are courageous enough to remain. And they were able to get these vigilante people who are ready to assist them. And certainly the community has to contribute to get food for this vigilante that are coming to assist in maintaining peace in the village.
But where are you? I mean, you being the government, where are you in all this? Because I didn't hear you say security forces have been deployed there.
Security forces, like I told you, security forces, I think the army came, I think about 3 or 4 days ago.
Came means they are stationed there, or they just visited
They came to the village and were assisting and giving the people some protection. Do you understand? But of course,
people have voted with their feet.
Yes, since they are limited in number, there's much less they could do, to secure the area. So they have to invite the vigilante from other areas that will assist the security agencies.
So the vigilantes are stationed there permanently.
Right now, as of today, right now. Just now I spoke with one of yesterday, the village head himself called me on phone with one of my political associates. We spoke, and after commending the position I have taken on the security issues in their area, they still solicited for my support, which I agreed that I will give them all the support, including financial support. I do. Myself, the member State House Assembly, we do contribute so that because the member State House Assembly comes from that area, representing Bakori constituency.
But as we speak, can you spend the night in those locations?
Myself?
Yes.
I can't. Even the other time that I moved that motion, I took it off with NEMA. We got some relief materials in terms of food,
and other
materials, mattresses, and what have you.
Usually give.
I took the risk. We went with some security, agents
to distribute those materials.
To distribute.
But that's within the daytime.
That is during the daytime. Now, if they know that I am going there, I'm telling you, I stand the risk of being abducted myself.
They will mobilize enough numbers to overwhelm whatever.
Of course, if they knew, even myself as member, if they knew, if they had the information, because they have informers. If by mistake, I told somebody and the informer knows that I am going there, I'm telling you that I stand the chance of being abducted myself. If they could abduct a military general, a retired military general in his own house, somebody that is armed himself, but because he knew, even if he came out with his gun, he will be overwhelmed by the number of people that came to abduct. If they could abduct a retired military general, who am I?
Quite a pathetic situation.
Yes, it's very pathetic.
We'll continue with the conversation after this short break.
Thank you.
Viewers, it is 30 minutes, the interactive program of Trust Television, and our guest today is the member representing Bakuri Danja Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives, Alhaji Abdullahi Balarabe Dabai. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, it is 30 minutes, the interactive program of Trust Television, and our guest today is Alhaji Abdullahi Balarabe Dabai, the member representing Bakuri Danja Federal Constituency in the National Assembly. You are talking about the pathetic situation that we found ourselves where a retired general who has served the country well, including being the former Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, General Maharazu Tsiga, and it's now more than a month. And
it's over we're in the 6th week now.
He's still in captivity.
He's still in captivity, yes. You know, while the security were tracking the bandits were busy shifting him from one place to the other on daily basis, or even on hourly or 2-hourly basis. As soon as they have report that the security agents are tracking them, they will move him from one location to the other.
But
that explains why it has been very difficult for the security agencies to rescue that person.
But it sounds like an excuse, because people will say, if it comes to this, no matter what it takes, the Nigerian security services need to reassert themselves to show that, look, you don't toy with the Nigerian statehood. But that doesn't seem to be the case.
That is true. But what can we do? The most I can do as a member is to move that motion. Talk to leadership. Our leadership is the speaker, honorable speaker. Tell him the situation will find himself. Get his cooperation and support so that this motion can pass through. He can make his own contacts, assist us so that we can get support from the security agencies. That is the most we can do.
What about what we've seen being reported recently? That is, after all the swearing of the governor that he will not deal with the bandits, he will not sit and negotiate. Now we see reports suggesting that communities in Jibia, in Basari, and some other locations are actually coming to truce, coming to terms with the bandits, and agreeing for the bandits to protect them so that they stay safe and they are able to go to their families.
That's loss of confidence. Loss of confidence, that's all.
Loss of confidence
of
in
course,
what?
In the government, in what the government can do. Because I understand and I agree with him. If a bandit is ready to surrender his or her arms and apologize to the public as to what she or he has done to various communities in terms of, abducting people, cutting away their cattle, and other, things that away from the people.
Well, we haven't seen that. What we have seen are the bandits with their machine guns strapped on their shoulders, talking about, we have to move on, we can't remain like this. So they seem still to be triumphant.
Well, if they still maintain that, definitely the government, the government will not be involved in those truths that they do with the people, the bandits, and the government in the center.
But you did say lack of confidence, which means the communities feel the government cannot protect them and they can't maybe leave their communities.
Yes.
And they are the ones to live there. And they've decided that the best option in some of the cases
you can't stop the communities from doing that, because for as long as they are sure that that will bring peace, so that they can go to their farms, do their normal business, they will do it. The government cannot stop them from doing that. But for the government to be involved, certain conditions, as stated by the governor himself, must be fulfilled by the bandits before he could enter into any agreement with them.
Why do you think that the bandits in some areas are getting even more daring? Because they have made some roads to be almost impassable. There are roads within Katsina State, like the Marabak Ankara to Dutse Road, like the Paskari Gusau Road, where abductions happen in daytime.
Yes. What really happens is this: for as long as there is no joint action across the states that will fight this banditry, if one area is killed, they will shift to another area. So whatever the government does or the security agencies do, they have to do it at the same time in all the states affected by this banditry. If they carry out, some maybe carry out
an operation
in Zamfara, and they do not carry out the same operation in Katsina and Kaduna, certainly they will move, because they know their roots. They will just move. And they know, like I was saying just now, right now, from the information available to me, they're even getting some place like, what's the name of that village? Is it Mununu? To camp as their camp.
It's a village in Katsina.
It's a village in Katsina. I think it should be, that village is in around Faskari local government.
But several times we've had, actually they've taken over like health facilities, primary schools, and they've been living there for years, and they haven't been destroyed.
If you know Kakuma very well, the road that passes from Kankara to Shemi village, if you stay by this side of the road, from a distance you can be able to see the bandits from their location across the road in the bush. The people in the area, particularly in Kakumu, Guga and Kandara, know the people who are involved in this banditry within their communities.
But they can't do anything about it.
They can't do anything. They can't do anything.
Because they are armed.
They are armed.
And if you touch them, maybe there could be retribution.
If you make a lot of noise, you will be the next target to be picked. I have my political associate. At the time they came, they picked some members of his family, I think his wife. They burnt his house. They picked his village at the same time. They have to pay ransom about 25 to 27 million before they were released.
Probably you contributed to it as well. I mean, to the payment.
No, I didn't.
Because I know many people in the affected communities have been...
I don't contribute to ransom payment. I don't do it. I don't.
Except if maybe a member of your family is affected.
Even if it is a member of my family, I will not do it.
It's a principle.
It's a principle. I will not do it. Because what is the point? You will still pay. They may decide not to release the person. They may decide even to kill that person. So what is the point in paying? It doesn't make sense paying.
So you are mentioning that what you need is a coordinated
action. That is very
across
true.
The country, across the whole region, where this problem
If we
passes.
can have coordinated action covering Katsina, Zamfara, Kaduna, Niger, particularly Sokoto and Kebbi, this area, I'm telling you, within a short time we should be able to have some relief.
Why is it so impossible to do? I mean, as civilians, we assume this is obvious. Why are the security services
that can only be answered by the security agencies? Maybe because the personnel deficit in personnel.
And we've just been talking about it and not doing much about it.
Yes, we talk about it much, and as far as we are concerned, not much has been done about it because we are still in the same problem.
But we are told that actually the security services are overstretched because there are so many crises all
within
across the country.
Yes.
In fact, in almost all the 36 states
that explains
of the federation.
That explains why the government has to listen to us, at least recruit 100,000 soldiers, 100,000 policemen, 100,000 in civil defense annually. At least that will, reduce the deficit in personnel.
How feasible is that? Because it needs a lot of money. Have you already voted for that quantum of
as
money?
Far as we are concerned, whatever the security agencies want and requested in the budget was approved by the National Assembly. So what are you saying? Why should we have this problem?
Why do you think one of the well-known bandits that the security services have zeroed in on, that is Bello Turji, they've been talking about him for the last 3-5 months, and he's still running amok?
He keeps moving on minute or hour by hour basis. It doesn't stay in one place. That is the information reliably that we've been received. He keeps moving from one place to the other. He doesn't stay 1 hour in one place.
And the Nigerian state is incapable of matching that?
Well, that is why intelligence comes in. If the intelligence is effective, they should have been able to trace and, catch up with him.
Now with the, preparations for the next farming season, with the rains being expected in the next 2-3 months in most areas, what prospects do you see, given the situation we are in, given your own analysis that everybody is involved, the problem is almost intractable? What do you
The prospects are slim. For as long as we will not resort to community policing, whereby all the able-bodied people within the communities are trained and armed to defend themselves. It is only when the communities can be able to defend themselves, that is when the security agencies can be able to give them support.
But people are fearful of that idea because if everybody is armed, you never know when the problem could
For
end.
able action, there is an opposite and what do you call it?
Reaction.
A reaction. So generally, for whatever action you take, there may be some advantages and disadvantages. But if we want to see this issue gone once and for all, we have to do that.
Thank you very much, Representative Abdullahi Balarabe Dabai, for coming onto the program.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Viewers, that's the end of this edition of 30 Minutes. Keep a date with us.